Welcome you students for the next class. For in today's class we are going to deal with the influence line diagram for the trusses. Okay. So in truss we have two categories of trusses. One is called as through bridge and one is called as deck type. Now for through bridge type of uh, okay, influence line diagram for bridge trusses. Now in bridge trusses girders can be used in bridges. Girders can be used only for small spans. Okay. Then for larger spans truss bridges are used. Now there are two types of truss bridges. One type is called as through truss type and another one called as a deck type. Now let us see one by one. Now through type of truss, in this what happens, this is the front view or the elevation you can call. This is the elevation of the through type of bridge, where this is the truss on which the bridge or the locomotion is going to take place. Now the road level is at the bottom of the trusses. Okay, this is called as the top, this is the bottom of the truss. When the vehicles are moving, suppose this is an vehicle. Now this vehicle is moving at the bottom chord members. These are called as the bottom chord members, these are called as the top chord members, and these are called as the inclined members. Now when this vehicle is moving at the bottom chord member, that type of a trussed bridge is called as through type. Okay, if I show in the cross section, now this is the truss on the either sides, and these both trusses are joined with the cross girders. The vehicle moves on this cross girders, okay, at this level, that is at the bottom level. So it is what is happening, the vehicle is moving through the truss, that's why the name it is called as through type of bridge trusses. Now next one is the deck type. Now in deck type what happens, the vehicle is moving at this point. Okay, the vehicle is moving at this point. The road level is at the top side. Okay, this is the bottom side, this is the top side. At this level the road is placed and the vehicles are moving. Now these vehicles can be a normal vehicles or it can be even a train motion. That's why it is called as deck type of truss. Okay, it is moving at the top level or the deck level. That's why this type of an truss is called as a deck type truss. If you see in the cross section, you can see these are the trusses connected by this cross girder, and here the vehicle moves on this cross girder perpendicular to the direction of the paper. Okay, here in line to the paper, here perpendicular, because I am taking a cross section, I am showing you here. Now whenever you have any type of truss, whether it might be a through type of truss or it can be a deck type of truss, the main thing is how the load transfers are taking place, what kind of load transfer takes place in the trusses. Now in trusses you can say a truss is an geometrical plane where the ends are joined with a pin jointed elements. Okay, in the analysis we assume that the joints are pin jointed connections. Though just because these are pin jointed connections, there can be only axial forces in the trusses. The truss is always subjected to the axial forces. Now how do we do the analysis part for the influence line diagram? So it can be done in two ways, either by method of joints or by method of sections, method of joints or method of sections it can be solved. Next one is whatever the reactions, next important thing is whatever the influence line diagram for the beams we have calculated, the influence line diagram for the reaction, especially for the reactions that we have calculated, is same for the trusses. The same influence line we are going to use. Okay, now let us solve the problems on it. The problem is stated as determine the maximum force in the member U2, L2, U3, L3 and U2, U3 of the truss shown when a UDL of 60 kN per meter longer than span moves from the left to right on the top chord. Okay, it is moving on the top chord. What is the meaning of top chord? That means the truss is a deck type of truss. Okay, so in the given problem, so this is the truss that is given for analysis for us. So here each part, that is the length from U0 to U1, U1 to U2, U2 to U3, the length is how much? 3 meters, and the whole truss is divided into 6 parts. That is why the distance they have mentioned it as 6 into 3. Okay. Next, the height of the truss is given as 4 meters. Now, whenever we are here in this problem, they have told you to find out U2, L2, U3, L3, U2, U3. That is U2, L2, U3, L3, U2, U3. Two vertical and one horizontal member they have asked for. I'll once again repeat: U2, L2, U3, L3, U2, U3. Okay, for these three members you have to calculate the influence line diagram. Now let us start solving it. Now starting with what we know, the reactions R1 and R2, the influence line diagram will be what? For R1 it will be a triangular in shape, for R2 also it will be a triangular in shape. But what are the changes? When the load is completely on R1, the complete load will be taken by this reaction. That is why you will be having the maximum ordinate at R1 and the minimum ordinate at R2. So this is the influence line diagram for R1. Similarly, when the load has transferred from R1 to R2, that is nothing but U6 joint. When the load moves from U0 to U6, now what happens? This load, whatever is the unit load, is completely taken by this support alone. That is why the ordinate will be 1 over here and the ordinate at U0 will be 0. So this is the influence line diagram for R2. The same thing we have done even for our beam analysis, that is a concept we have done. There we can see how the influence line diagram was developed. Okay, let us calculate influence line diagram for F, U2, L2. So this is for F, U2, L2. So we take a section that cuts minimum 3 members, and what kind of a joint is U2? At U2 you are having the horizontal, vertical as well as the inclined member. Here it is very important to know that the vertical forces are taken by vertical members and the inclined members. Okay, vertical forces are taken only by vertical members and inclined members, and horizontal forces are taken by horizontal members and inclined members. vertical force is taken by only vertical member and inclined member, whereas horizontal force is taken by horizontal member and inclined member. Now at U2, L2, we are going to calculate it for the, since it is an horizontal member, the forces for horizontal we are going to calculate. Okay, and whenever this load comes over here, the vertical force is taken by two members, that is U2, L2 and the inclined member U2, L3. We are interested only in the part of the force taken by only U2, L2. We are not interested in what the force is being taken by U2, L3. So we are solving only for U2, L2. How do we solve it? Now we have to consider first that the load is in portion left side and to the right side of your cut marked portion. Okay, I am cutting an section 1 which is crossing U1, U2, L2 and L2, L3. So this divides the truss into left hand side section and right hand side section. Now when we consider the load is in the left hand section, okay, when the load is in the left hand section, that is from U2 to U1, and the load is distributed here or the point load is moving in this section, we have to take the equilibrium of the right hand side. We have to take the equilibrium of the right hand side. So if I cut this section here, what will remain? This part will be remaining for my analysis. Now here I have to take into consideration the U2, L2. So when I take in the consideration, I draw the free body diagram for it. So I will be getting somewhat like this. All other members are not, we are not interested in other members, we are interested only in this. And here one more inclined member will be there. Whatever it takes the load from here, that is U2, L3. So that is not under consideration, so we don't use it anywhere. For we are just interested in U2, L2, so we are doing only for U2, L2. Now if I consider the right hand section for analysis part, I am taking the members in compression. Okay, so I am assuming these forces. Okay, so once I assume the force in downward direction and R2 in upward direction. When I take the equilibrium of the vertical forces, summation of vertical forces, then what I'll get? Reaction R2 is equals to force in U2, L2. Since it is positive, I will get it as tensile in nature. So what it will be? Force in U2, L2 is equals to R2. Now how do I get that R2 values? Now R2 values are got by drawing the influence line diagram for reaction R2. Okay, once when the load is in this form, when the load is in U0, U1, if I draw the influence line diagram for R2, so this will be the influence line diagram for R2. Once my load is on U0 and second time the load is on U1. So when the load is on U0, what will be the ordinate value of U0? It will be 0. Next, when the load moves from U0 to U1, the ordinate value at U1 will be how much? This part. Okay, so by using similar triangles you can calculate. Here the ordinate is 1. How much will be this ordinate? It will be how much? This part, that is 1 part of 6. We are not going to multiply it with 3, anyways it will get cancelled. So this is how much is U0, U1? 1 part of the 6 parts. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, correct? So U0, U1 is 1th part of the whole 6 parts. So what is the ordinate of U1? It is 1 by 6. So force U2 L2 is 1/6 of the whole answer. So and this is what tensile. How it is tensile? We did the analysis or the equilibrium over here. Okay, this is the analysis part for getting your positive or negative forces. That's why you will be getting F force in U2 L2 is equals to 1/6. Okay, when the load is at U1. Next, now once the load we considered when the load was here. Now next let us consider when the load is in the other part. Okay, we have cut this section over here. Now we are going to consider when the load is in U2 to U6. Next, when the load is in U2 to U6, that is load, the unit load is varying from U2, it can be anywhere in this section from U2 to U6. When it is in from U2 to U6, we take the equilibrium of the left hand side. So this is the equilibrium of the left hand side. R1 is upwards, even to equalize this, even it should move upwards, correct? This is one member only. This is L2, sorry, this is U2 and this is L2. Okay, now to equalize this force, this should be equal and opposite in direction. That's why you will get, I'll take summation of vertical forces, that I will get R1 plus force in L2 U2 is equals to 0. That's why I'll get force in L2 U2 is equals to how much? Minus R1. Instead of minus R1, I'll say it as compressive in nature. Once I get it is in compressive in nature, now I have to calculate for this ordinate, because now load is varying from here to here. Now for that, when I am taking the left hand equilibrium, I have to draw the influence line diagram for R1. The maximum ordinate will be at U2 and the minimum ordinate will be at U6. Okay, because the load is once at U2, then U3, U4, U5 and U6. So the maximum of this will be at U2 and the minimum of will be at U6. At U6, since the ordinate is 0, because here you will get 0, that's why force or the force in U2 L2 will be 0 when the load is in U6. It will be maximum when it is at U2. Now what will be this maximum ordinate? Now this maximum ordinate, since here it is 1, so how much will be this? This will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 parts of this whole diagram, that is the similar triangles. It is 1 divided by 6. The larger triangle should be equal to, if I name this as something x, okay, x divided by 4. So what will be the ordinate of x? X will be is equals to 4 by 6. That's why this ordinate is 4 by 6. This ordinate is given as 4 by 6. Therefore, force in F2 F U2 L2 will be how much? 4 by 6, and it is what? Compressive in nature. Now we have to draw for the influence line diagrams for the tensile and compressive values. Now let us draw the influence line diagram for this. Okay, we know when the load was at U0 it is 0, when it is at U6 it is 0, when it is at U1 it is how much? 1 divided by 6. When the load was at U2, it is, what is the force? It is 4 divided by 6. Now we always show the, like I use the sign conventions, that the positive to be drawn on the top of the neutral line and the negative to be drawn at the bottom of the neutral line. So I have drawn 1 by 6 on the top and 4 by 6 at the bottom, and I have joined this with a linear line, because the variation of the force is linear. It is not parabolic or anything, it is varying linearly. That's why this is your influence line diagram. This is influence line diagram for force in, for the force in U2 L2, for the force in U2 L2. Now why we are taking this as our reference line is because the load is moving on the top chord members. The load is moving on the top chord members. We cannot draw here because load is not moving here. The load is moving on the top chord members. So we have to take this as our reference line. Now once we have this, what does this diagram tell us? That till the force if it is moving from left to right, the force when it is in U0 till this point of Q, whenever it is there in this section, you will be getting the positive forces or the tensile forces. Just when the load crosses this point Q, whatever the load is, the force that is experienced by this member, it will be negative. Okay, now see here, until and unless the load is somewhere, that if this point is Q over here, till the load is occupied from U0 to U6, U2 L2 will experience positive force. When the force just crosses this Q point, the force when the or the load or the vehicle, when it crosses this Q point, the forces developed in U2 L2 will be negative. Now how to calculate that? Now how to mark this Q point? What is this distance? U1 to Q and Q to U2. This can be done by a simple geometry. Okay, I am using the similar triangles again over here. I will take the triangle U1 Q and this point, Q U2 and this point. I'll use the similar triangles. So height by base, height by base. So that is U1 Q divided by Q U2 should be equal to 1 by 6 divided by 4 by 6. This is your normal, what to say, similar triangles. Next, you know that U1 U2. How do you get U1 U2? By adding U1 Q and Q U2. So I have done the addition part here and I got the ratio of U1 Q to U1 U2 as it is half of it. Okay, it is 1 by 0.5, not half, sorry, it is 1 divided by 0.5. So once I know it is the value, I want to know what is the value of this. So what I'll say, I will cross multiply it. That is 1 divided by 0.5 is how much? 0.2 times U1 U2. So I know what is the distance between U1 U2. How much is the distance between U1 U2? It is 3 meters. So if I multiply it with 3 meters, I'll get it as 0.6. So this distance from U1 to Q is 0.6 and the remaining Q U2. U1 U2 is 3 meters minus 0.6 will give you 2.4. So this is the distance. Now what I'm going to do, why I have done this, I'll divide this influence line diagram for positive and negative. This triangle will give me compressive forces. This triangle will give me, tensile forces, and this triangle will give me negative forces. That is, force in U2 L2, that is compressive, is nothing but load into area of this triangle. Load into area of the triangle. So what is the load? The load given in problem is 60. Area of the triangle half base. How much is base? From U2 to U6. What is the distance? From U2 to U6. How many parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 3s are 12. So each part is 3 meters. So such 4 parts you are having. That's why you will be getting from U2 to U6 it is 12 meters. 12 plus 2.4 till Q. This is the triangle that we are going to consider. So 12 plus 2.4, you will get it as 14.4. And what is the height? 4 by 6. If you multiply this, you will get the force, that is the compressive force in U2 L2. If I want the tensile force in this, it will be same, load multiplied by the area of this positive triangle, that is half base will be how much? U0 U1, which is how much? 1 part, so it is 3 meters, and this plus 0.6, so this is 3.6 multiplied by height, that is 1 by 6. If you do this calculation, you will get the compressive and tensile forces. So here I have solved for it. Okay, compressive force in U2 L2 is how much? Half area of it in multiplied by the load, you will get 18 kilonewton. Maximum tensile force is half area, you will get 288 kilonewton. Now next we will calculate the influence line diagram for U3 L3. Now U3 L3 is what kind of a member? It is an vertical member. Since there are no inclined members here, whatever the load will be coming from U2 till U3, till the load travels in this region, that is from U2 to U4, all the load will be taken by this alone. All the vertical force will be taken by this alone member, that is U3 L3, because it is not having any sharing member. As I have told you, vertical forces can be taken only by the vertical members and the inclined members. Here there are no inclined members, so therefore all the vertical force has to be taken by this vertical member. Now how this happens? Now let us consider that the force is somewhere in between U0 to U2. Now when the force is in U1, the force will be taken completely by this hinge. Okay, next when the force comes at U1, this vertical load is taken by U1 L1 and U1 L2. There is no force distributed for this U3 L3. Next, as soon as this member or the load enters U2, here this load, complete unit load, is taken by this vertical member and the horizontal member. Even at this point, there is no load transferred to this U2 L3. When the load, that means it is 0, correct? The force in U2 L3 is 0. Next, as the load moves in this region from U2 to L3, that when it comes here, the force is being taken by this member. Okay, when it is nearby here, that time what happens? The force is getting transferred to this member and some force gets transferred to this horizontal and vertical member. Now next, when the load is at here, that time some load will get transferred to these two members and some load will get transferred to these members, and like this when it moves forward, and when it comes exactly at U3, the complete unit load is taken only by this member. That's why the variation is from 0 to 1. Now as this unit load moves away from U3, okay, when it comes at this point, that time the load is distributed by this vertical member and this vertical member and this inclined member. As it moves far and far and far, it will go to U4. That time what will happen? This unit load is completely taken by this vertical member and inclined member. There is no force distributed to U3 L3. That's why the force taken by U3 L3 will become 0. That is, a variation starts from 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. Now what force it is, whether it is tensile or compressive, how to check it? Now here you see, now the force is acting over here, it is downwards. Now to act, why downwards? Because our vehicle moves, or it is moving in an horizontal plane. Always the load acts towards the gravity, and we know the gravitational force is always downwards. Now to oppose this downward force, the member has to develop an opposite force, correct? This is my U3 L3 force. Now if I take summation of vertical forces, what it will be? If this is unit load 1, if I take positive upwards as positive, then this will be minus 1 plus force in U3 L3 will be equal to 0. Therefore force in U3 L3 will be equal to minus 1. Instead of minus 1 I'll write it as compressive. That's why force in U3 L3 is compressive. Okay, and this is 1 when the load is at U3. When the load is at U2, it is 0, and when the load is at U4, it is again 0. Okay, so here I have written in a statement form. Considering equilibrium of forces at U3, we get force in U3 L3 is equals to force at U3, and it is compressive, as I have told over here. Force at U3 whenever it is there. Now this can be unit load, any type of load. For example, I take a unit load. When it is at U3, the complete force in U3 L3 is equals to what? What type of load is at U3, and it is compressive in nature. When the unit load is in between U0 to U6, between U0 to U6 and U4 to U6, there is no load at U3. That's why the load increases from 0 to 1, and as the load moves from U2 to U3, the load increases from 0 to 1 as the load moves from U2 to U3, and it decreases as the load moves from U3 to U4. Okay, therefore the influence line diagram is given as, see, from here till here it is 0, so we don't have any matter of it. From U2 to U6 also it is 0. The variation takes place only when the load is moving in between U2 to U4. It varies from 0 to 1 and 1 to 0. So this is the influence line diagram for U3 L3. Now how to calculate the what force is there when 60 kilonewton load is acting on it? That time it is nothing but what? Area of this triangle multiplied with the intensity. So maximum compressive force is given by area of the triangle is half base into height. So base is U2 to U4, that is two parts of the triangle. There is one part, two part, and the distance between U2 to U3 is 3 meters, U3 to U4 is again 3 meters. So 3 plus 3, 6, and the intensity of the loading given is 60 kilonewtons. Therefore it is 160 kilonewton, and it is compressive. Now next let us move on to influence line diagram for U2 U3. Now let us consider the section here, this part. Okay, and I am calculating for here. So what I will do, I have drawn a separate influence line diagram for free body diagram for it. Okay, so when the load is on the left hand side section, so here you are having somewhere left hand side section, that time the equilibrium of the forces I have shown here. Now for horizontal members, we take the, how we calculate the influence line diagram is what? We use the movement equation. Movement, wherever we are calculating the force exactly opposite to that joint. Now I am calculating force for U3 L2, correct, or it is U2 L2, wherever the member ends. Now it is ending at U2 L3 is ending at where? at u3. So opposite to that joint whatever is there, at that point I have to take the movement equation. So if I take the movement equation, I am assuming the force to be moving up away from it. So summation of the forces at L3 is given by what? Force in U2, U3 multiplied by 4, that is the height of the truss, clockwise positive, anti-clockwise negative, R2 into 3 times A. Why 3 times A? From the distance between L and L3 and R. So the distance between L3 and R is how much? 1, 2 and 3 parts, correct? So it is 3 times A. So it is 3 times A. So you will get U3 L3 into do the cross verification and you will get, and this is compressive in part. Next, when I take the right side, this is for the, this is now when I take the left side equilibrium and this is my right side. Now when I take that, now force is this U2 U3, this is my R1. Now if I take summation of all the forces at L3 again, that time it will be how much? Clockwise positive, anti-clockwise negative. So R1 into the perpendicular distance from R1 to L3, R1 to L3, that is 1, 2, 3 parts. So it is 3 times R1 into 3 times A, U2 L2 into 4. Why 4? Because height of the truss given is 4. So this will again rotating clockwise, correct? So this is clockwise. So I'll calculate for this U2 U3. So I'll get same. Here I'll get R1, there I'll get R2. So since we are calculating movement at a single point, so what they have said, that force in U2 L3, sorry U2 U3 is given by nothing but movement at U3. What we did was just movement at U3. Therefore, what I'll get divided by 4. There is one more an equation for it. If you want to take for any horizontal member, movement at particular joint divided by H. Now movement at a particular joint is given by what? A into B divided by L into 1 by H. Okay, so this is the equation that you need to remember when you are doing for horizontal members, that is A into B multiplied by 1 divided by H. When you substitute for that A and B for L3, why L3? Because my member I am calculating for U2 U3, and at now wherever the member ends, that opposite joint I have to take. So the opposite joint of U3 was what? L3. So now I have to divide, it was L3. Now L3 on the left hand side and the right hand side, this distance will become A, this distance till here it is B, correct? How much is A? 1, 2, 3 parts, 3 into 6, and on the B side it is again 3 into 6. Sorry, not 6, it is 3 into 3, that is 1, 2, 3, and each is 3 meters. So 3 parts of 3 meters, and on the right hand side 3 parts of 3 meters. If you solve for that, you will get 9 by 8. So at U3 you are having the ordinate as 9 by 8 and it is compressive in nature. We saw in the previous year. Here I was getting the negative sign. So this negative sign indicates nothing but it is compressive in nature. Now if I have to get, now I want movement. So what I will do, area of this triangle. What is area of the triangle? Half base completely. It is 6 into 3, 18. Height is 9 by 8 and the intensity is 60. So I'll get it as 607.5 kilonewton. Okay, thank you.